Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And also peace and safety to the Akim that's spread across the four corners of the world. It's pushing out this truth with all diligence and also putting their lives on the line to do so. I'm the brother Karas out here. I have Great Millstone, Atlanta. As you can see, I have here queued on the screen, from travelstate.gov, which is the government website. I read it, from where it's at the top, where it's in the red. It says Americans in the Middle East, basically giving you the information to call just in case you're in trouble. It says worldwide caution. The Department of State advises Americans worldwide and especially in the Middle East to exercise increased caution. And why is this? Because America has, basically pissed everybody off, starting with the elites, using Donald Trump, for their agenda. It's became unsafe, for Americans to even travel to other countries, because the people of those countries despise America, man. So the government issued a warning out, for people traveling to different countries, especially in the Middle East, concerning, Iran. All right. It says worldwide caution, security alert. It's from March 22nd, 2026. It says the Department of State advises Americans worldwide to exercise increased caution. Location, worldwide. Department of State advises Americans worldwide and especially in the Middle East to exercise increased caution. Americans abroad should follow guidance and security alerts issued by the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate. It says periodic airspace closure may cause travel disruptions. It says U.S. diplomatic facilities, including outside the Middle East, have been targeted. Groups supportive of Iran may target other U.S. interests overseas or locations associated with the United States and or Americans throughout the world. You see? And this is what happens when you go into war, man. It's become unsafe to even, travel to these other countries, man. And we don't know, exactly when things are going to pop off to the fullest, at its peak, but we know that it's going to be very, very soon. All right. So Americans, 9 times out of 10, majority of Americans are not going to, consider these things, when, trying to travel and, book flights and trips, vacation trips. They're not going to consider these things, but the men of the Lord are. The scriptures say a prudent man, foreseeth evil and hideth himself, and that comes in all aspects, man. Now and when we're in Jacob's trouble. Okay? So this is a government issued warning, for Americans that's traveling and you see, how the airports are now, especially here in America, in Atlanta, which is the busiest airport in America. The TSA line is backed up for hours. It's saying so many people are missing their flights, and they're like 10, 12 hours ahead of time. So who's to say these airlines and these airports aren't going to get targeted by the T word, man? That's why it's just become unsafe and really everything. It was another warning issued out about going, to large, gatherings or with large groups such as concerts and sports games, entertainment, facilities and parties, all of that, man. Because why? Because these groups are going to start to get targeted, man. So really only the man of the Lord is going to be protected. Is what I'm kind of hitting at, man. So I'm gonna grab a scripture. This isn't gonna be a long lesson, just an interest while I'm on my way to work. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. It says, I'll start up a little bit. Verse 14 says, "Wherefore he said, Awake, thou that sleepest." You see, so us finding out the truth was our awakening point. Finding out who we are, the name of the Lord, the things that we should be doing. That was our waking point, man. You see, it says, "And arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light." Verse 15. "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." You see, so the scripture tells us to walk circumspectly, man. Let's see what that word means here. It's G199.
Strong's G199. Akribos.
And it says exactly, accurate, or diligently. You see? So we're supposed to act, accurately, being on point in these latter days, man. Not walking around with your head down. We speak on this all the time. Knowing your surroundings, paying attention to the people that surround you, because we are, from the things that we are doing, we basically are walking targets here in America, man. And it says, verse 16, it says, "Redeeming the time, because the days are evil." All right, so we're supposed to make use of every minute of our, days, man. Because why? The days are evil. For a travel warning to be issued out shows you that the days are evil, man. Me personally, I've never seen, this being put out. If a brother, may have seen it, probably wish you could, put it in the comments, but I've never seen the travel warning being issued out to American citizens, man. And especially in the Middle East. And what's the Middle East, man? That's where the Lord is gathering everybody. When you read the book of Joel, the 2nd and 3rd chapter, the Lord is gathering, the nations there for World War III. You see? It says, verse 17, "Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is." You see? And the will of the Lord is for America to be destroyed. All right? So with us doing that, we can't be unwise and act like America isn't an enemy, a target enemy of the Lord's, man. All right? Especially with us living here. Okay? So I just wanted to touch on that article real quick. Just paying attention, another current event news. All right, but before I close out, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruchakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Until the next time, Shalom.